Similes. What is a simile? A simile is a figure of speech in which two things are compared through the usage of words. You may have heard it defined this way before. A simile is a comparison using like or as. Get rid of that definition right now because it is incorrect. If you follow this definition, then you will miss out on correctly identifying a lot more similes, because there are many similes that do not use the words like or as, yet they're similes. This only helps you identify a small group of similes. The definition of a simile is a figure of speech in which two things are compared through the usage of words. For example, his eyes are darker than wine, and his teeth whiter than milk. There are comparisons going on here, but the words like or as are not present. Rather, the words that are showing the comparisons are the ones here highlighted in blue. So darker than and whiter than show comparisons. So eye color is being compared with wine, and tooth color is being compared with milk. So what words are used to make similes? There are several. Like and as, of course, are used to make comparisons. They make similes, but there are many other words. So than, more than, show comparisons. Any word ending in er, so greater, better, faster, and then you add the word than, so better than, greater than, faster than, show comparisons. If you say the word resembling, that also shows a comparison, because if one thing resembles another thing, there's a comparison. Or if you say compared to, that of course makes it very clear, leaving no doubt that two objects are being compared. You can probably think of other words that show comparisons, but these are very common words that show them. So keep these in mind, but most of all, keep in mind the definition. It is a figure of speech in which two things are compared through the usage of words, but the idea is it's a comparison. A real comparison. Nothing more than that. If you find something and it's a comparison, that does not always mean it's a simile. But more on that later. So for example, time is more valuable than money. There's some objects that are being compared here. Again, notice, like or as are not in there. But more than is. So time is more valuable than money. So the comparison is the value of time with the value of money. Now, why do people use similes? What are their functions? There are many. I'll list the most common types of functions. There are many more, but I'll list the most common types. So that way, if you want to include similes in your speech or writing, you understand what you can use it for. And if you want to achieve any of these functions, then you can try using similes next time you speak or write. So the first way is to beautify a way of speaking or writing. Similes are used to create beauty in a speech or a text. Now, a very common way that similes are used is to highlight a comparison to help people think in a different way. If I say the moon was as red as a rose, well, whoa. So I'm talking about an eclipse now. Oh, wow, it's like a rose. It's red. I didn't think about it that way. Or if you say it's as red as blood, well, red is also the color of blood. Now I'm thinking of a different way. It's now a bit more eerie. It's a bit scary. Similes are quite often used to help people understand a usually difficult concept by comparison. So if I'm trying to help people understand an atom, I can use the solar system, or I can use a picture of circles in circles, and that becomes a simile. I describe it as orbits, just like I describe planets orbiting the sun. I say, well, it's like planets orbiting the sun in an atom. Electrons orbit the proton and the nucleus. So I say the solar system is like an atom, or an atom is like the solar system. I've helped people understand either concept or even both better now because I've used the comparison. So similes are quite often used in teaching. If you want to help people learn a new skill or understand a new idea, use similes. They help people understand. So if you're talking about tying a rope, you can explain it like tying a shoe. People understand it that way. So it's a bit more difficult, but because of the comparison, it's now a bit easier to understand. Or it's to provoke an emotional response. So if I, for example, describe a person's hair color, let's take the color brown, and I say, oh, your hair is like cherry wood. Well, cherry wood has a very positive emotional response. It's a very nice color. People often use it or get their shelves or dining tables or kitchen tables that color because it looks really nice. So now I have an emotional response and it's positive. So if I'm trying to compliment someone and make them feel good, I can say something like that. Oh, your hair is like cherry wood. It's really nice. Its color is like cherry wood. But if I say, oh, your hair color is like mud, now I've provoked a negative emotional response. Mud is also brown, like hair color, but it is not positive. People have very negative emotions toward mud because they slip in it. It creates a mess. It's hard to clean up. It looks bad. So if I say your hair color's like mud, your brown hair is like the color of mud, that creates a negative emotional response. But if I say your hair color is like the color of cherry wood, that's pretty positive. That is something that makes people feel good. So these are the most common types of functions for similes. Now, how do we identify similes? It's a step-by-step process. You have to ask yourself 2 questions. Question number 1. Is there a comparison being made between 2 objects? So for example, if you have a comparison between eye color and wine, or tooth color and milk, that's a comparison. The answer to this question would be yes. Now, if that question is answered yes, we go on to a second question. So the second question would be, is one object being turned into another object? So if we go back to our first example, the eye color is like wine, it says darker than wine. The tooth color is whiter than milk. No, the objects are not being turned into one another. They're very clearly being compared. So if the answer to your second question, to this second question, is no, you have a simile. If the answer is yes to both questions, then you have a metaphor. And you can click on the description below. There's a link. You can click on the link in the description below to go to metaphors, or at the end of the video, you'll have that option. But that's a different figure of speech. So what you're looking for is a comparison. Question 1 should be answered yes. Question 2 should be answered no. So you're always looking for a comparison between 2 objects. So for example, it says, now my days are swifter than a runner. They flee away, they see no good. I ask myself, are there objects being compared in this passage? And the answer is yes. My days are swifter than a runner. Swifter means faster, so my days are faster than a runner. It says they flee away, they see no good. So then I go to the second question. Are the days being turned into the runner? Well, no. It's very clear from these words that it's a comparison between days, or the speed of days, the passage of days, is being compared with the speed of a runner. And probably at this point, a fast runner. So my days are even faster. The speed at which they pass by is even faster than a fast runner. So that is a simile. Let's try again with the questions. So it says, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Question 1, is there a comparison going on here? Well, very clear. It says, shall I compare thee, so you, to a summer's day? So you, this person, whoever you is you is being compared to a summer's day. Well, let's go further. Question number 2. Is you being turned into the summer's day? Well, no, very clearly no. It says, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. So no, these words clearly show a comparison. The comparison is you with a summer's day and you with the weather of a summer day. And probably we're thinking of good summers, not ones that are very hot, so not ones where you're suffering. So more temperate means weather's very nice. Trivia. Well, the word simile is a Latin word. It means similar. See that? If you look at the word, remove the E, well, that looks similar. It means like also. So the Latin word simile means similar or like. Because a simile is a comparison in which one object is shown to be similar to another. For example, in this one, it says, what happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? And the comparison going on here is between the dream deferred, so meaning the dream's been put off, it's been delayed, I've kept it on the back shelf while I do other things. That dream, that's being put away, is being compared to a dried up raisin. And notice this is the first simile that we've seen in our examples that has the word like. Because of course like shows simile. So that's similes. If you're interested in more topics that are related to similes, go ahead and click on one of the videos below. And thanks for watching. Until next time.